Hey, welcome to Breaking Pulse. You know, we often see our heroes on a public stage, celebrated for their strength and courage. But what happens when they have to face their toughest battle completely in private? Today, we're going to talk about just that. We're looking at the story of NBA veteran Jason Collins and his incredible fight against one of the most aggressive brain cancers out there. Just listen to these words. That's how Jason Collins, who you'll remember as the first openly gay athlete in the NBA, described his diagnosis with stage 4 glioblastoma. And that image he paints, it really sets the stage for this incredibly personal and tough fight he's now facing. So let's get into his story. First up, let's talk about the man himself. Because really, to get what this fight is all about, you've got to know the fighter. Okay, so here's a little background on Jason Collins. He's 47 years old, and you probably remember him for his incredible courage back in 2013. He was the first active player in the NBA to come out, and that changed professional sports forever. And just this past May, he had this amazing, joyful milestone. He married his longtime partner, the film producer Brunson Green. I mean, the year started off on such a high note for them. But then, everything changed. Just a few months later, in August, things took a really scary turn. Collins started noticing what he just called weird symptoms. You know, things like his short-term memory getting fuzzy and just not understanding things the way he used to. He even said that when he was trying to get ready for a trip, he just couldn't stay focused to pack. Now, for a guy like him, a super disciplined pro athlete, this was a huge red flag. And sadly, it led to a really devastating diagnosis. And that diagnosis was glioblastoma. So what is this thing? What is this disease that Jason Collins so powerfully called a monster? All right, so glioblastoma, or GBM for short, is the most common and the most aggressive kind of cancerous tumor that starts right in the brain. It's what's known as a grade 4 astrocytoma. Now, what does that mean? Well, it comes from these star-shaped cells called astrocytes, and it's graded on a scale of 1 to 4, with 4 being the absolute worst. Basically, this tumor is messy, and it spreads really, really fast. And this right here, this is what that monster can actually look like on an MRI. This image shows something doctors call a ring-enhancing lesion. That bright, kind of messy ring, that's the active part of the tumor. And those tentacles that Collins mentioned, that's not just a metaphor, they're real. The tumor sends these projections out into the healthy brain tissue around it, and that's exactly what makes it so incredibly hard to remove completely. So take a look at this chart. It really puts into perspective how common this is. Glioblastoma makes up almost half, 48%, of all the primary malignant brain tumors in adults. Now, brain cancer itself isn't super common, but if you are diagnosed with a malignant brain tumor, there's basically a 1 in 2 chance that it's this one. It's the most frequent and, honestly, the most feared. You know, one of the scariest things about GBM is how it shows up at first. The signs can be so subtle, the kind of thing you just brush off as being tired or stressed. And this slide really shows what I mean. On the left, you've got Jason Collins' experience, short-term memory loss, trouble focusing, but look at the right. This is a case study of a 50-year-old woman. Her family just noticed she was different. She became apathetic, forgetful, she started missing deadlines at work. They honestly thought it might be a psychological thing. So in both cases, you see, it wasn't some big, dramatic physical symptom. It was these quiet, frankly unsettling changes in who they were. And yeah, that lines up perfectly with the most common early symptoms. Headaches are the big one, but right behind that are things like memory loss, cognitive changes, personality shifts, even seizures. And the really frightening part is how fast this can all happen. We're talking days or weeks, not months or years, as that tumor grows and puts pressure on everything. So once a diagnosis of GBM is made, the fight starts right away. And it's a tough one. The odds are steep, the treatment is aggressive, and the prognosis is, well, it's really challenging. The standard approach is basically a 3-part attack. Step 1 is surgery. Surgeons go in and try to remove as much of the tumor as they possibly can without harming critical brain functions. But because of those tentacles we talked about, it's pretty much impossible to get every single cell. So that leads to step 2, radiation. And then step 3 is months of chemotherapy, usually with a drug called temozolomide, to try and stop any remaining cancer cells from growing. But even with all of that, the numbers are pretty sobering. The typical survival time, the median, for an adult with glioblastoma is only about 12 to 18 months. And just so we're clear, median means that half of the patients live shorter than that and half live longer. It's a tough number to hear. And if you look at the 5-year survival rate, it's less than 10%. It's just a stark reminder of what a huge challenge this is for everyone involved. The patients, their families, the doctors. This disease has a devastating habit of coming back. And to really understand why that aggressive treatment is so important, just look at this. Without any treatment at all, the typical survival is just 3 months. That really tells you everything you need to know about why doctors move so fast the second they get a diagnosis. Okay, I know hearing all those numbers can feel really heavy. It can feel hopeless, but it's not. There is a massive worldwide effort, a total race against the clock, to find better ways to fight this thing and, one day, to cure it for good. And a huge part of the strategy today is all about buying time. The goal, as Jason Collins himself said, is to use the treatments we have now to slow the tumor down, to keep fighting long enough for science to catch up with new, personalized treatments. It's really like building a bridge to the future of medicine, one day at a time. And that future? It is genuinely exciting. Scientists are exploring so many new ideas in clinical trials. I'm talking about personalized vaccines that literally teach your own immune system to fight your specific tumor. AI-guided radiation that zaps only the spots where the cancer is most likely to come back. Something called tumor-treating fields that uses electrical fields to mess with cancer cells. Plus all kinds of immunotherapy and gene therapy. I mean, the pace of discovery is just incredible. And look, if you're feeling skeptical about whether a cure is even possible, just listen to this. This is from Dr. Henry Freeman. He's one of the top experts in the world at Duke's Brain Tumor Center. Someone asked him, will there ever be a permanent cure for GBM? And his answer was just one word: yes. That's the kind of certainty and hope that's driving all of this research. All right, so we've looked at the personal story, the science, the hope for the future. Let's wrap this up and talk about why this whole story matters. So, after all of that, what's the one crucial point you should walk away with? Here are the key takeaways. First, glioblastoma is an incredibly fast and aggressive cancer. Second, the symptoms can be really subtle, things like changes in personality or memory, so being aware of those quiet shifts is so important. And while the outlook is definitely challenging, it is not hopeless. There is real, concrete hope in all the research that's happening right now. Our most powerful weapons in this fight are awareness and research. And in the end, it really all boils down to what Jason's twin brother, Jaron, told him right after the diagnosis. You have to fight, no matter what. Jason Collins' story is just such a powerful reminder of what the human spirit is capable of, even when facing something so immense. So what are your thoughts? We'd love to hear from you. Please share any words of support you have for him or for anyone you know who's battling this down in the comments. Let's get a conversation going. And hey, if you got something out of this explainer, it would mean a lot if you'd like, share, and subscribe to Breaking Pulse. We do deep dives like this all the time. Thanks so much for watching.